Let's have a conversation about pre-construction. I have not been very vocal about pre-construction on this channel because it's not a space I personally specialize in, but I sure know a lot about it. Don't get me wrong, there was a time 10 years ago where you could make $1 million buying and selling pre-construction, and you could make that pretty quickly, but those days are long gone. And not just because of the current downturn in the market. The pre-construction market has been less profitable, emphasis on less profitable, for quite some time compared to 10 years ago. My name is Macallum and I manage a real estate team here in the city of Toronto, and we specialize in resale, and some of our agents specialize in pre-construction. I make videos about the Toronto and Canadian real estate markets to help keep you informed and educated on the current state of the market. If you find this video helpful and informative in any way whatsoever, please do me a favor and click that like button and subscribe to my channel so that you can join our growing community. And if you want to chat with me directly, you can book a call using the link in the description or by going to the link in my channel bio. From there, you can book a call directly into my calendar. And before I jump into our discussion about pre-construction, I'd like to know what you think of the pre-construction market. Let me know in the comments below. If you're a client of mine, you're probably watching this thinking I am going to bash the pre-construction market because I've mostly advised against purchasing pre-con. But that's not what this video is about. It's not about telling you that pre-construction is the wrong move for you, because it actually might be a great play for you depending on the type of buyer that you are. I'm going to draw on conversations I've had with people who have reached out to me and my team over the past 6 months or so. Let's start with a very brief understanding of the pricing of pre-construction properties because that's so incredibly important. When the developer is selling a building, they are selling at expected prices. And by expected prices, I mean they are modeling how the market is going to perform when the building is completed. The price you pay buying pre-con is the expected future price for the suite. And because of this, pre-con projects in Toronto generally sell for 30 to 40% more than resale. So off the bat, a pre-con buyer has paid more than the property would currently be worth in the resale market. And the hope is that it appreciates during the development phases to be in line or above resale values. We can easily see pre-con projects selling for $1,600 a square foot, whereas resale properties in the neighboring building are selling for $1,100 a square foot. This wasn't really the case 10 years ago. Projects weren't selling at a major premium compared to resale, which meant buyers were purchasing and making quite the return in a very short period of time. I'm realizing I'm partway through this video, but I'd like to say before I offend anybody, if you bought pre-con and you have closed or own a contract pending closing, I'm not saying you made a bad purchase. It may be the perfect purchase for you. Let's quickly go over the pros and the cons of buying a pre-construction property. There's an extended deposit structure when buying pre-con, which means you don't need to put 20% down right away. Deposit structures vary by developer and project, but it's generally 5% at signing, 5% at year 1, 5% at year 2, and maybe another 5% at closing. That's a pretty great selling feature because it allows buyers to build up their deposits over many years instead of needing 20% cash immediately. When you purchase a pre-con property, you are buying a home that is 100% new and has never been lived in. Now, who wouldn't want that? Well, maybe someone who wants a renovation project, but for the most part, a new property is pretty appealing. When buying pre-con, you also have the ability to customize your suite, meaning you can choose the finishes and the upgrades to make the property completely your own. The cons of buying pre-construction are you are purchasing at a 30 to 40% premium, which we've already gone over. The property won't be ready for years, which could be a pro or a con, depending on type of buyer you are. If you can't or don't want to close, assigning the contract can be difficult depending on the market. Another major con that people don't talk about often enough is that the developer can make adjustments to the suite after the contract is signed. There are other cons, but let's just cap it at that. The calls that my team has been fielding over the past 6 months or so have been from people who purchased pre-con in the past few years, and now closing is coming up, and with interest rates significantly higher than what they were, they can't close and have to offload the suite or even multiple suites. For this type of buyer who is calling us, the reason they need an exit strategy is because of higher borrowing costs, which very few people anticipated to this extent back in, let's say, 2020. I mean, rates did have to increase, but most people, including myself, didn't think it was going to be this much this quickly. It's an unfortunate situation where a buyer cannot close on their home or their investment property due to higher rates, but it's a reality now. We're also receiving calls from first-time buyers who purchased pre-con properties years ago and no longer want to close on their purchase, mainly due to life changes such as having kids and needing more space, not wanting to live in the neighborhood anymore, breakups, divorce, etc. And these first-time buyers did not purchase the pre-con property with us. They went directly to the developer or they worked with another agent. They are buyers who we spoke with years ago about purchasing real estate and against our advice purchased pre-con and have now opened up conversations with the team again about assigning their contracts. This is of course a terrible situation to see because the first-time buyer will now likely be taking a loss on their first property. It's not difficult though to notice why first-time buyers are drawn towards pre-construction properties. It's because of the pros we've gone through: extended deposit and a brand new property. Almost all buyer consultations that we have with prospective clients end with them wanting to purchase a newer home, which is completely understandable. I also think first-time buyers are compelled to purchase pre-con because of the great marketing from the developer. Go to any reputable developer's website, let's just say Tridel, scroll through their upcoming projects and try telling me it's not something that looks amazing and that you would want to buy. Their goal is to sell units, and they are damn good at it. One of the most important pieces of buying real estate is to have a long-term mindset. If you make a sound purchase with the intention of holding the property for 5 or more years, then you should be all right. The thing about pre-construction is that from the point of purchase to completion of the building can be, let's say, 3 years. So as a buyer of pre-con, you need to have an even longer term outlook. I'd say you need to have an outlook of 8 or more years from the time you actually sign the contract. And a lot can happen in 8 years. Think about your life 8 years ago. Where were you? But with all this said, should you be purchasing pre-con? I'm going to paint in pretty broad strokes here, but there are of course nuances. I think investors should be the vast majority of pre-con buyers. I don't think pre-construction is the right move for most first-time buyers, primarily because life changes can happen on a dime. This is not to say that only investors should be purchasing pre-con, because that's just not true. I just think that if you are not an investor, then you really need to think about where you want to be in 8 years from now. What do you think of pre-construction? Do you like it? Do you hate it? And would you ever purchase it? Let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video about pre-con, and I hope you learned something. If you're looking to learn more about power of sale or foreclosure properties, click the video here. Because at the point of making this video, power of sales were selling for 2% less than non-power of sales. Talk about a discount.